Okay, so we have our handle. Now we're gonna put our stuff, bring our stuff back into view here. So I'm gonna pull up my layers tab. My layers I keep off screen, so I'll put it over here. And I'm gonna put my pommel and my guard back up. I'm gonna come back and look at putting these together. Now, you'll notice that some of this stuff's not gonna match anymore, right? So that's a problem. Oh man, looks what I did. When I did that scaling up that first time, I actually did these too. So how do we fix that problem? Super well. Let's get rid of, it doesn't really matter actually. Come back down here, go to this. I'm going to grab that edge, Alt R to go all the way around the whole thing. Hopefully. Yep, and then delete. Nope. Oops. I do not know what just happened. Okay, that's definitely not what I wanted. I don't want backspace. I want delete. Push backspace. So I just don't want those edges there. That was my mistake, but it's good to see how to fix it. Okay, so if we come back down here and we go to the front, we'll see that it's a little bit off now. So I'm going to move this. There's nothing selected there. I'm going to move this over so it lines up pretty good. And it lines up there. And here's the one we really care about, it lining up here, right? So if we come back to the left and we take this pommel right here, let's deal with this pommel first. And I'm not going to attach these pieces back together, we'll do that last. So for right now, I'm going to take this pommel, I'm going to look at it here, and we're going to see that it's kind of good, but then it's got this little lip that goes up and over. So I'm going to show you how I do the stuff that I do. Again, it's back to the way I do it, so I'm going to go to 1 to go to vert mode. Then I'm going to hold Control and click on the poly mode and delete it. And now I've got the polys. And then I'm going to come here and grab that border edge and go back to the front. And then I'm going to scale it in this case in uniform scale. And you'll see that it makes a little red line right there. And if you can't see it, it looks like that. I just pulled it out about that much. And then I'm going to hold Shift and drag it up. Now I've got that little bevel, and then I'm going to hold Control, Scale, for R for scale, scale it in, and for right now that's good. So we've got that piece made. Now this piece down here. So this piece down here is a little bit different, not too much, but there's a couple things we get to do with it. So we're going to go front, Z, and look at this, we can see that it's a little off again, and we'll deal with that, ignoring, we just want the shapes here. So rather than move these down, I'm just going to go ahead and take these two, Alt all the way around it, and say connect. And then I'm going to add 2 subdivisions, see how it's like that? And then I can move it a little bit wider, that looks about right, and then I'll pull it up a little bit so it's in the right spot, just like that, and then I'll say okay. Now I'm going to come in here, grab my poly mode, which I usually push the button, but I like to click it for showing purposes. And then I'm going to say bevel. And again, it went back to the default group. We're going to change this to local normal. And we're going to say that's too much. We're going to pull it in. Go back to front. Just to give it a little bit of a rim right there. Maybe a little bit more. Oh, I'll keep that like that. A little bit more. Sorry, wrong one. There. Just like that. That looks good. I'm going to say okay, and then we're going to come down to here, and we're going to look at this, and we're going to say edge. The one thing about some of the tools that you use, which we'll talk about later, like Swift Loop, is that you can't do a Swift Loop, which just is basically a connect, but a really fast way to connect. But you can't do it if you don't have an edge loop. But you can cheat it if you don't have an edge loop the way that we're going to do right now. So if I push that and I select that vert mode, or if I just go to edge mode and I select edge, and the reason I went to vert mode first is because if you push Control and push edge, it goes to edge. And then I say connect, it connects it for me. I'm going to turn this down, and then all I want to do, front view, is get this about the width, ignoring this, get this about the width of the spike that's going to come out the bottom. There. Then we go back to vert, we grab this one vert right there, and we say extrude. Remember that trick I showed you before? And I guess I didn't have to do it the other way, but this is good for support edge anyway, so we'll go back to front. Check this, that's about right. So we've got that set up. Now the other thing we want to do, and I didn't want to cut it, I didn't want to subdivide it more because it wouldn't match this anymore. But I do want to do some more, make this a little bit rounder. So I'm going to go to 2, edge mode. I'm going to grab both of these, and this one, and this one. I'm going to hold Alt-R, and then I'm going to go ahead and connect them, and we're going to say 0 for the position, so they're right in the middle. And then, again with this on, so they're all separate, I'm going to scale them out just a littlest bit. And they should be able to do them all in the same amount. If I want to, I can double click this one and pull it in a little bit to give it a little bit more of a drastic pull. But there we go. So now we've got this part made, we've got this part made, we've got this hard part made, which was definitely the hardest. Now we just need to attach the pieces together. So we'll do that next.